Welcome everyone to another video of Small Business Treasury, and I have a very important topic to talk about today. I want to talk about what a bank account phishing attempt looks like from a criminal attempting to do a verbal confirmation and a verbal initiation of an ACH and a wire. I have this email in front of me that just came in not too long ago. I can't give out the specific details of it because it contains a lot of confidential information, but I'll skim through it and then I'll show you all what it looks like when someone attempts to do a phishing fraudulent phone call whenever they're requesting an initiation of an ACH. So I'll start right now and then I'll break it down and what that looks like and some things to look out for in your business so you don't become a victim of this. By the way, this happened at $1 billion organization, and even those companies, just as much as the small ones, are victims to this types of fraud. And it happens all the time. And people who are unaware of the situation and unaware of how these criminals operate, they become victims to it, and then they're out thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in a single transaction. So without further ado, let me read to it. It says, "Good afternoon, team. I just spoke with blank, and I wanted you all to become aware of the fraudulent phone call from our business unit that we received today. Our accounting manager received a call from someone claiming to be from the fraud department at our legacy bank at blank. The caller stated that two large ACH transactions were attempting to clear the bank tonight and asked whether they were legitimate. The call was transferred to me so I could verify. This individual is a C-suite executive, all right, so sitting above the accounting manager. The caller repeated the same question, and then I asked if he could send me a link to the treasury management system so I could sign in. Okay, this is the criminal requesting the C-suite executive, so the individual sitting at the founder level, so they can send a link so he can sign in to the banking portal. Okay, continue on. The individual said, "I was driving and I told him I cannot log in right now, but I can do it later." But he continued to push for immediate action, quote unquote, to get fraud inquiry going. Okay, so red flag number one right there. Multiple red flags up to this point, but that's the biggest one. Then the C-suite executive said, "When I asked the questions about how the ACH was initiated, whether it was originated in our system or through a pull from a portal." Okay, that's a legitimate question. If someone's requesting you to log into a banking portal for and ask to verify the ACH, the first thing you're going to ask is, who initiated the ACH? Was it initiated internally from the organization, or was it initiated externally? Meaning someone is attempting to pull those funds, or the bank is initiated on your behalf, right? That's a legitimate question. And when I asked questions about the ACH initiated, whether it was originated in our system or through a banking portal, he provided vague and inconsistent answers. He claimed it was initiated from a mobile device in Atlanta, Georgia, but cannot explain how it was approved. Very huge red flag right there. Very inconsistent, very vague, can't provide a legitimate answer. No banker would ever follow this type of script. Okay. Towards the end of the email says, "At that point, several things did not add up. When he put me on hold, I disconnected and contacted our banker at blank directly to verify. After no answer, he called the main support line, and I'll skip through this. Eventually, the conclusion was that customer service at this bank confirmed that it was a phishing attempt." Okay. He also claimed, the bank representative also claimed, that this has happened to other clients and have received similar phone calls, and the callers mixed up the bank so they could do something with other banks. All right, so this is happening across multiple banks, multiple clients. Many small businesses are operating, are experiencing similar types of attempts of phishing fraud. Right, so that's the story. There's some other additional information at the bottom, but I don't want to get into it. But I want to break down some of these things and how this can happen to anybody. This can happen to $1 billion organization, and it can happen to a small business owner. And if look at how they target specific individuals. These criminals and fraudsters, they're able to look up online who is the accounting manager, who is the decision maker, who do they need to contact, right? They get very creative as to how they can obtain certain information. All right. So, and it's not like the individual who received the phone call was an analyst or an entry level position. It was an accounting manager who received the phone call, the phishing attempt. Okay. So, a few things to look at. Okay. The caller stated the two large ACH transactions were attempting to clear the bank tonight and asked whether they were legitimate. That's how they hook you, because they want to make it believe that they are on your side. They're trying to make sure, hey, we're the banker. We're trying to confirm with you whether this is a legitimate ACH or not. Okay. Then it goes on to the next portion. The caller repeated the same questions and asked if I could send me a link. This is a very dangerous part of the phishing attempt. If he could send a link to the treasury management system, meaning, what does that mean? If someone's a criminal attempting to phish some information from you, okay, what they'll do is they'll send you an email after you provide it to them because they gained your trust in some sort of fictitious way, and they send you a login portal that is identical to the portal that you use for your banking system. So if you bank with Bank of America, they'll send you a login portal that looks exactly like it. If you bank with Chase, you bank with a smaller bank. This usually happens at smaller banks because bigger banks are a little bit more aware. But if whatever it is, whether it's a regional bank, national bank, or a local bank, they'll find a way to send you an identical looking login portal. And then when you log in, they now have access to your bank accounts. So when you log in, because it's a fake fraudulent website or a fake login portal, they now obtained your login access, right? They obtained all of the information that you used to log into your banking portal. At that point, they can go into the legitimate actual website, use your credentials, log in, and then initiate transactions in ACH and wires outside of that, move cash out of your bank accounts. Okay, and this goes into a whole nother video that I talked about in other videos about how we can prevent ACH transactions because you need dual approval and you have RSA tokens and you have extra security measures in place and you need two signers to release a wire. Those are all things that we can talk about in a different video, but I'm talking about this particular situation and how they gain access and how they could potentially move cash out of your bank accounts. Okay. So this is another immediate red flag. They were getting hasty. They were getting very irritated that it wasn't going to happen immediately, right? So I receive these calls from our banker all the time at a major bank. Whenever they want to confirm an ACH transaction or a wire, they call me and they say, "Hey Frank, we noticed that you initiate or release this wire. We want to verify that this is a legitimate wire that's coming from your login credentials, etc." None of them, no banker that's a legitimate phone call is going to ever get irritated that you cannot do it at that very moment, because banks will not release any type of transaction unless they get formal approval from the treasury manager, treasury director, or anything of that nature, the CFO, whoever is a C-suite executive at the company. They'll just say, okay, we can call back and we'll put this wire or ACH on hold. No need to worry. Just get back to us when you can. I'm like, okay, fantastic. Anybody who's urgent, who stresses the importance and who gets irritated, immediate red flag. Red flag, stop the phone call right there immediately and do not pursue anything else. Make sure you contact your banker directly through a known source, through a known phone number, to make sure that this is a legitimate phone call. Okay. So anything that comes with urgency, huge red flag. You as an individual who's overseeing accounting, or the C-suite executive, the CEO, the founder, whoever's in control of the banking portal, you need to be aware of these types of attempts so you do not become victims. Okay, let's go to the next red flag. Okay, so there was there was the urgency in getting logged in to an email banking portal that they were going to provide. Okay, red flag right there. The urgency. Then the call came from a wireless phone number. Okay, he could not provide basic details and he could not answer things consistently. Huge red flag. Okay, and this is a key part. This is in the email. It says all ACHs on our end initiated by one person and must be approved by another. He did not seem to be aware of this. This goes back to a question the topic that I've talked about many times. In your company, in your organization, no matter how large it is or how small it is, whether it's $100,000 or $100 million in annual revenue, you need to have these proper treasury protocols in place and dual controls to make sure that when an ACH or a wire is initiated, there's dual approval. Because you can see right here, these happen at any size organizations. And these fraud attempts, okay, are going to happen at any level. And having those controls in place are going to help protect your cash, going to help protect the capital that you've worked so hard to obtain. Okay, I've 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 been in a family of small businesses. Okay, I know how difficult it is to earn money, and I know how difficult it is to go out, provide goods and services, and earn that capital. I've seen it happen in my family, and I know how difficult it is when it's lost. Okay, because of through forms of fraud or forms of or human error or forms of lack of proper treasury controls. I'm here to help you, the small business owner, implement enterprise level treasury protocols and policies so this does not happen to you. Okay, going on to the next part. Okay, so the last point that I want to mention is that he struggled to answer very basic, simple verification process and questions. Okay. Anyways, the point of this story in this scenario is to remind you all as a small business owner that this can happen to anyone. It happens to large organizations, it happens to small organizations, and simple treasury protocols prevent things from happening and allow you to protect the capital that you worked hard to obtain. It allows you to make sure that you implement proper protocols in place to prevent fraud from happening, to prevent yourself from becoming a victim, and to make sure that you are always aware of what could potentially happen in your business. Okay, treasury is not the exciting thing. It's not FP&A. It's not forecasting. It's not investment banking. It's not private equity. It's not the exciting thing, but it's the thing that protects your capital today. Okay, I've had over a decade of experience in corporate treasury. I've worked all the way up from entry level positions all the way to where I'm at now in treasury management. Okay, I oversee treasury. I work at a $1 billion organization. I'm doing this to help the small business owner because I've seen the things that happen at an enterprise level, $1 billion organizations. And I come from a family of small business owners who generate under $500,000 a month or $500,000 a year. And they still become victims to these types of things. Okay. It's very easy for criminals to target smaller business because they know, oh, they're not aware of proper treasury. So I would argue that it's even easier for criminals to target small business owners because they know for a fact, oh, these individuals don't have proper treasury protocols in place. They don't have dual approval systems. They don't have proper policies in place. Or we can target this small individual because they're a growing company. They're focused on acquisitions. They're focused on selling their products and services. They're not going to worry about protecting the capital in their bank. My goal in this channel is to help individuals become aware of these problems and aware of the consequences that can happen when you don't have proper treasury protocols in place. Okay, implement the strategies the large organizations, $1 billion organizations have in implementing your small business, because the cost of implementation is fractions and fractions of a penny as to what it will cost whenever you become a victim. Okay, it's very easy to implement some of these things. I'll make videos about that in the future about how you can implement these. What are the processes that we follow at $1 billion organizations? What are the processes that multinational organizations follow? The dual approval process, the dual control, the RSA tokens, all of these things. Okay, I post these videos all the time because I want to help the small business owner. I want you to become aware. I've seen multiple small business owners and founders and grown businesses become victims to these types of things because it happens all the time. It's so easy for criminals to target these individuals. It's so easy for them to target small business owners. It is so easy to go online and look up, oh, this company is recently acquired. They're 2 years old. They're probably generating, a couple $100,000 in revenue. I can easily target them because they're not going to have a treasury department in place. But you don't need a treasury department to have these protocols in place. All you need to do is become aware and then delegate that responsibility to your CFO and have him implement it. Okay, watch these videos. It's all free. It's my job to help you. It's my job to make sure that if you have questions, put them in the comments so I can answer them in the next time. Okay. I see these things happen all the time, and I try to share it as much as possible through my corporate experience in my daily job, through my conversations with clients, and conversations with friends and family who have small businesses. I have countless of stories of where I've seen these things happen, and I'm very passionate about it because I love treasury. I've been doing it for a very, very long time, for 10 years plus now. I'm climbing the corporate ladder, and I do plan to make it all the way to the very top as a very, you know, treasurer level at an organization, right? Currently, I'm in middle management as a treasury manager, but I want to be able to help implement these things into the small business owner, because you don't need 10 years of corporate experience to implement this into your small business. Corporate treasury is simply corporate language for cash management and cash protection. Okay. We can implement these same strategies in small businesses. And I encourage you, watch the videos, be educated, share it with your CFO, share it with your head of accounting, share it with your AP specialist, share it with anybody who deals with money so they are aware of the possible things that can happen through fraudulent attempts. Okay. It's my job to help share these things with you. And if you have a story you want to share, or you want a scenario that you want me to break through, share it with me, leave it in the comments. I guarantee that over my 10 years of experience, I've seen it at one point or another. I've seen some sort of fraudulent attempt. I've seen wire fraud, ACH fraud. I've seen vendor fraud. I've seen how companies lose thousands of dollars in ACH fraud, wire fraud, whatever it may be. And I've seen how things are protected on their end because they have insurance premiums that they pay every single month that helps protect these things. It's a hedge. It's their hedge against these types of fraudulent attempts. Okay. But it's my job to share these things with you. But I can only share as much as you want me to describe a certain situation, right? So I try to share as much of these things as possible through my experience and what I see on a daily basis, and what I've seen through individuals who ask for my help. But yes, become aware, protect the capital. It's very difficult to earn cash. We live in an economy where you have to provide goods and services. Earning that capital takes time and effort. Don't be a victim in losing all that cash through a fraudulent attempt. This thing happens at large organizations. It can potentially happen to you. And like I said earlier, it's even easier for it to happen to smaller business owners, because these criminals, they're not dumb. They are fully aware of everything that's going on, and they know a growing business is not going to have the resources implemented to prevent this from happening. Okay. Anyways, that's all for today's video. If you have a question that you want me to answer, put in the comments, and we'll see you next time.